This is the actual block that I grew up on. Seems a bit surreal to be back here. I haven't stepped foot back on this block since I was like 12, 13. I grew up on Aylesbury Estate, and I grew up in a household where domestic violence and domestic abuse was present. My mum suffered from severe mental health issues, and due to the abuse that she endured throughout our childhood, she also became an alcoholic. So the community played a big role in the way that me and my siblings grew up. Our needs wasn't necessarily met inside our household, so coming out into our estate and forming friends and a sense of belonging and connection we got from our community here and the youth clubs that we attended.
I met Aliyah when we both worked in children's homes, and I guess we kind of forged a partnership after just having like the same intentions and the same dream for what we could offer to young women through our personal stories.
By the age of about 11, 12 years old, my family situation broke down due to the amount of abuse and violence that was present in our household at the time, and my mum obviously self-medicating through alcohol. I ended up in care around Southwark because Southwark was my corporate parent. I moved to Bermondsey and a couple placements in Peckham as well. And then that obviously led me to forming unhealthy relationships with my peers in the community and them just teaching me different ways of surviving. Before I knew it, I was 18 and received a 4-year custodial sentence. I think I entered that grey area, which a lot of the girls do, which led me to founding Daddyless Daughters, where it's, are we victims, are we perpetrators? I remember 2 friends of mine growing up. They grew up in a 2-parent household, and they used to buy a trampoline and pool and put it right here in the middle of the community for us to all kind of enjoy, because we didn't all have the privilege of being able to get access to those summer activities, going to the caravan like they used to and stuff like that. So I guess there was a clear divide in that sense growing up. I clearly knew that me and my family was poor and was growing up in poverty. I remember my mum used to send us to the shop with like milk tokens, and we used to work on Sunday markets. That was normal to us. So although on one hand, growing up in this environment and in poverty, it shaped what I was willing to do to survive, on the positive side, it also made me very resourceful, very driven, and very much aware of the difference between us and them and what I have to do to get to where I need to go in life. I guess at first it was just loads of ranting to my friends and having these big visions and different ways that we could kind of build a community, an organisation that serves a particular community, which our community is Daddyless Daughters, but also kind of lives outside of the system, but bridges the gaps within the system. We did our first campaign shoot underneath here. We wanted to take the girls back to where it all started for me. All that work started in 2017, but we didn't actually found the organisation until 2020. Obviously, I'm a care leaver. I have limited resources that are available to me, so it took years of me having to study what it takes to put together an organisation and everything that I need. And then once I linked up with external organisations like Active Community Networks, everything started to come together.
I guess our organisation is unique in the fact that obviously it's run by women with lived experience. The mentors and people that we employ all have some sort of lived experience, which married together creates a solid foundation for the women that we support. A lot of the big corporate organisations are run by people that don't look like us, don't sound like us, and don't know the world that we come from. And they try and embed themselves into our lives and are not doing it very effectively.
We brought a group of young women down here to represent a few of the stories that we had been sent by people who have related to our online narrative and the issues that we cover. It was all about the girls as well, teenage girls in particular, kind of breaking their silence and advocating for the fact that, we need some sort of community support, especially for households that only have single mums present, and especially for those households that, those mothers are also being abused or are suffering from severe mental health problems due to the amount of abuse that they had experienced themselves in childhood. So yeah, this was kind of the first place that we did our first form of creative expression. We've gone on to do a lot of exciting projects since then. This estate, this building, it carries a lot of weight for us, but not only for my personal story, but I've found a way to intertwine it with Daddyless Daughters' story as well. What I love about Active Community Network is not only do they try and work with me to help identify what do the girls need, our girls need, and our service users, and how can we collaborate on programs together to hold the weight of that, but they also, are very interested in what are my needs as a founder and my organisational needs. How can they help me build infrastructure? As a care leaver myself, that kind of value that they've added to my journey it's like you can't even put words on it, because we really I really built this from nothing. So any sort of resources that they can kind of hand over to me can really help our organisation hit the milestones that's necessary for our girls, to benefit our girls.
We've got organisations, corporate organisations and big charities out there that are getting millions of pounds and are not providing half of the work we're doing. It's tick box exercises. They're taking big wage packets. We don't take money for what we do. In fact, we've worked full-time jobs and fed into this organisation because we believe in what we do and we believe in helping the younger generation and saving their lives, effectively. The funding pots are not big enough to do the work long term. They're funding us for small projects. We know that our small projects are working. We're screaming from the rooftops that our small projects are needed, that they're working, and that we are actively supporting the young people that we say we're going to support. But they're not offering us the pot again. There's 1 million of us bidding for the same £5,000 to run a small project that nobody's really making a wage from, that we can't make the biggest difference that we want to be making from. They're asking us for KPIs and impact, but how can we impact if we can't run it past a year, past 2 years, and we have to come back and beg you again to fund our project? Even though we've answered your reports, we've got our reports in on time, we have all the paperwork, we can't build infrastructure on what we're being provided with. And it's not fair. It's really not fair, because we are really doing the work. We are not the only grassroots organisation out there. There are loads of grassroots organisations out there that are doing this just because they love their communities and they care about their communities. And these bigger organisations are coming in and they're taking what should be ours, and they're not doing the work, they're not supporting, and there are still gaps in services that are remaining that we are filling. Daddyless Daughters has done an array of different projects, from offering a wellbeing hub for young women within Peckham, to our sister squad that we recently launched that will be doing one-to-one work with young women in care, and then doing sister squad programs where the young women will come together and engage in activities together, which will teach them how to forge positive relationships with other women that have also experienced trauma without trauma bonding and trauma dumping onto each other. And then, as well as that, this year, the launch of the exhibition Layers, which filmed and told the stories of women that had served time in Holloway Prison, was held at Copeland Gallery in Peckham, and will hopefully that work will continue and other people will be able to see that exhibition. But we've also got a lot of work coming. And we work with our young women in order to develop our programmes. So they are like the driving force behind everything we do. We have service user involvement panels, we have mentors that then go on to tell us what work they think we need to be delivering. And we form workshops and programmes around the voices of them. Yes, me and Aliyah have our own experiences. We are Daddyless Daughters, and our stories are the reason that Daddyless Daughters was founded. But the stories of Daddyless Daughters continue to be told, and there are still women going through the situations that we are now thankfully out of.
Growing up, I didn't really have people that I looked up to, like celebrities or anything like that. Now, looking back at my younger self, I'm very much aware that I am my own hero, and I'm very passionate about, telling my story and putting my story out there, and because I think it's important that other girls see women like me and know that they can win in a way that is not necessarily promoted to them. And, we can also make it look cool. Yeah, I'm very passionate about that, and I guess that's what, if anything, a local champion is to me.